There are no clamps on this, so it is important just to make sure you don't knock it against something.
Any small boys around that might like to ride it?
I'll have to add a little bit of the weld band to both sides and then stick it together.
Thanks so much for helping with the grand opening of the Repair Cafe Kingston. Another great Kingston thing of putting us further on the map as a city that works hard to do green and sustainable things.
It proves that things are being used and reused for longer and not thrown away. As well, it helps reduce the use of raw materials and energy, cutting CO2 emissions, avoiding landfills, and encouraging people to be green. At the Repair Cafe, you'll find the tools, materials, and knowledgeable folks, the fixers as they call them, who enable you to make repairs on many things.
Today we had the grand opening of the Repair Cafe. It started in Amsterdam as a world initiative to repair old things. Turns out it's sort of a lost knowledge thing. If you can repair it, so many people are happy to do that. Doesn't get thrown out, doesn't go to the landfill and create problems with pollution, garbage, and there's a great sense of satisfaction because we encourage people to help with the repair as we do it, whether it be a little bit or a lot.
Now, you go ahead and unscrew it with the larger one.
Look down the middle, and if you strain it slightly, you can actually see.
My formative years were spent homesteading with my mom and my dad. Growing up, I didn't know that we weren't wealthy. Because in my experience, we had everything we needed, and it was more than enough. If something broke, you took it out to the workshop and fixed it. When I ventured off on my own, I discovered that my life experience wasn't the norm, and that among my various groups of friends, many didn't know how to fix even the simplest things. And by then, I had learned how to do just that.
We have a disposable society right now, unfortunately, and it's wrecking the economy, it's wrecking the environment, and people are losing the value of actually possessing items because it's too easy to replace it. And most of the time, when you're about to throw some out, there's only one thing wrong with it. It's an easy fix.
The Kingston Unitarian Fellowship is kind enough to donate the space and a little bit of money, and so we hold it on the second Sunday of every month from 2 to 4:30 p.m. We found there's a lot of people that are really happy to fix things instead of throwing them out. There's a personal satisfaction thing there, and it's a community thing. And we have our fixers who are really happy to fix these things for free. We found all these people, it's almost like they're going, please let me do it. But we're happy to take on anybody that has a skill that can offer, be it from woodworking to upholstery to electronics, electrical, jewelry, and just general things that are broken. If it gets through the door and it's not oil or gasoline based like an engine, we can probably help you with it, or we can tell you what should be done. Maybe you got to throw it out, but it'd be nice to know that for sure, wouldn't it?
Well, I had a grandfather. He never threw out anything. And on Francis Street in Portsmouth Village, he had a house, and behind the house he had a workshop, and I can remember being in there with him for hours and hours, watching him fix things. And this whole idea that when something breaks, I can save it, and I might be able to reuse it. If I can't fix it, I can reuse it in another way. My grandparents saved up enough money to buy a piece of land on Francis Street in Portsmouth Village. And at the time, they were tearing down the houses in order to make way for the Kingston Center back in the 50s. And they said, anybody who wants anything from these houses, you can stake claim to a house and take anything you want from them before we tear them down. And so my grandfather showed up, brought my dad and his brother, and literally took a house apart, board by board, and reused all the materials to build the house that still stands on Francis Street today.
This fixed lamp is sitting on top of a fixed table that we did at 2 previous cafes.
I find that I've already learned a number of things about electrical and electronics, and in addition, have a chance to work on some very different projects other than what I would normally be doing.
I've always been a fix-it guy all my life. It was part of my professional job, was to create things out of nothing. And I like fixing things. I found a lot of older things last longer. And then you fix them, they last just as long again, like stereo systems.
You used to buy a washing machine or dryer and it'd last you 20 or 25 years. Nowadays, If it breaks, you don't even bother calling somebody, you just go to the brick and buy a new one. And it's this idea that you're coming together with a new philosophy like this, that, you know, we can fix things and we can reuse them and we can, you know, continue on this path of sustainability.
The biggest problem I have with getting rid of things is that everything is so useful. If it wasn't useful in its original form, it can be taken back down into its component parts. I have a really super hard time throwing anything out, ever.
Building community by teaching each other and learning with each other helps to remind us not only why this is a benefit to the earth, but also how community enriches and benefits our daily lives.
Thanks for attending. Tell your friends and bring us your broken things on the second Sunday of every month.